Have you been neglecting your personal brand because you're in a full-time job, you just don't think it's very relevant for you? Why on earth should you bother to manage your brand? My name's Anna Lundberg. I'm the founder of One Step Outside, author of Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5 and host of the Reimagining Success podcast. And what I tend to find is that most of us will neglect our personal brand and specifically our presence on LinkedIn until, let's face it, we have that urgent need and suddenly we're actively seeking new opportunities. And that can be quite dangerous, and it's really a missed opportunity because LinkedIn can be a fantastic platform. First of all, even if you're in a so-called secure job, if that even exists, it's a great place where you can network with other people in your industry, you can make connections, and these will benefit both you and in fact your employer. But also, of course, at some point you will want to change role, change industry, maybe even change sector, certainly change company at some point. And at that stage, it would be helpful if you'd already done all the things, at least got the basics in place, that you're ready to push that button rather than having to scramble to get things into place. I want to share a little bit of a story because I had a client recently who told me about a new junior member of the team who was relatively quiet and, unobtrusive in the office and obviously quite junior, so perhaps not so drawing attention, I guess, and not speaking up so much in the office. And yet my client noticed that he was very active on LinkedIn, sharing thoughtful pieces, commenting, sharing articles, writing things that were very relevant to the work that they were doing in the industry. And rather than be, I suppose, suspicious as a traditional mindset might lead you to be, in the sense of worrying that this guy was actually trying to find another job because he's being active on LinkedIn, that must mean he's unhappy and he's going to change job. Rather than be suspicious, he was actually impressed and inspired. And so I was working with my client to see how he could increase his presence and his so-called thought leadership and begin to build more of a profile for himself and a network within the industry in his own capacity. And of course, related to his work in the company, but still as an individual and not just relying on, let's say, the sales team to do that. So if you want to take matters into your own hands and start to build at least a little bit of a basic presence, so you're in a bit more of a strong position should you need it in the future, and again, it can be really powerful today, I'd like to give you sort of 3 levels of steps that you can take. And the first one, and I ask all of you to please do this, at least get the fundamentals in place. And that means having a picture, first of all, ideally a professional picture, looking at the camera, smiling, taking your headline, which is usually some very meaningless automatic headline that's been taken from what your job title happens to be at the moment, and crafting a custom headline, and that's going to be the first thing that people see about you, that's going to be much more relevant and meaningful to other people outside of your company and also outside of your industry. And then finally, crafting the story in the summary. So you've got the about section, and most people haven't really used that real estate, as it were, to tell the story of who you are, the value you can create, the results you get, and the things that you really care about in the industry, in your field. So that's the bare minimum. So please, everybody, get a professional photo, take your headline and customize it, make it more relevant, and then tell that story. Now, the second thing you can do as you feel more comfortable is to begin to follow people, connect with people in your industry, like their posts if you do like them, of course, comment, share, and begin to participate in the conversation around the particular themes that you're an expert in and that are relevant in your industry. And then finally, level 3, of course, is to share your own content. So not just engage with other people, but actually post your own short form posts, perhaps in the beginning, and ultimately longer articles and so on. So you can see how you can really start with the basics. You don't have to launch into doing live videos and so on, which of course could be really interesting further down the line. But at least if you get that basic presence there, begin then to tentatively connect and engage with other people. And ultimately, of course, you want to be someone who's creating and sharing content. And again, I really encourage you to do this whether you have any interest in leaving your job in the foreseeable future. Of course, first of all, we just don't know. The future, certainly at the moment, in fact, the present is very uncertain. And in any case, as I said, it's a really powerful platform for you to have that will benefit both you and your employer. I would say, of course, be sensitive to what your management, what your company feels in terms of perhaps a policy of being present on social media. Do just double check that. I hope and I believe that most modern companies are very open to this, but of course make sure that you're not doing something that is in some way contradicting some kind of internal policy, and make sure that it's clear that you're doing this because you want to engage in the conversation in the industry and be a part of this, and again contribute in a positive way also to the company, but make sure you're not doing anything that's contravening any policies. I'd love to hear from you. If you are unsure, if you're very eager now to maybe take control of your LinkedIn presence but you're not sure where to get started, I'd be happy to have a quick look at your profile, give you a couple of pointers, so do just send me a private message and we can go from there. Have a wonderful week and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.